You sleep in a healthy state, but suddenly wake up with chest pain, and in the blink of an eye, you're in an ambulance heading to the hospital. But here's the scary question that no one ever asks until it's too late. Does it matter which country's hospital you enter? Because between Malaysia and Indonesia, the difference can be the difference between walking out on your own or not coming out at all. Today, we break it all down: costs, doctors, equipment, and the bitter truth about which system can truly save your life. Before we continue, if you've ever had experiences in the hospitals of either of these two countries, write in the comments. I'm collecting real stories for the next video, and your story might help others make life-saving decisions. Every comment you leave today tells the algorithm that this conversation is important. Come on, I'm waiting. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Let's get started. So let's begin with the basics, how each country actually pays for your health, because this shapes everything. Malaysia runs a dual system. There are government hospitals that are heavily subsidized where Malaysians can enter, see a doctor, and walk out paying as low as 1 ringgit. 1 ringgit. Then there are private hospitals, Gleneagles, Pantai, Prince Court, where the quality goes up, but so do the bills. Indonesia, on the other hand, has built something called BPJS Kesehatan, a national health insurance scheme that now covers over 90% of the population on paper. The key phrase there, on paper. Because the coverage that exists and the coverage that works are two very different things, and that gap is where the Indonesian people often fall. Now let's talk numbers, because this is the part that leaves people speechless. A routine appendectomy in a private hospital in Malaysia will cost between Rm 8,000 to Rm 18,000, depending on the facility and complications. In a Malaysian government hospital, the same surgery for citizens is nearly free. We're talking about 2-digit ringgit figures. In Indonesia, if you go private without BPJS, the same procedure in hospitals like Siloam in Jakarta can reach 3,000 to Rm 12,000. Cheap on the surface? Yes. But follow-up care, medications, nurse-to-patient ratios, that's where the real costs reveal themselves. This is what isn't shown in brochures. Malaysia has about 1.8 doctors for every 1,000 people. Indonesia is around 0.6. It sounds like mere statistics until you become a patient waiting 6 hours in a district hospital in Indonesia because the only doctor on duty is handling 40 cases simultaneously. In major Indonesian cities like Jakarta or Surabaya, the best private hospitals are indeed world-class. They have specialists who have trained in America, Australia, Germany. But stepping out of the major urban centers, the drop in quality is steep and shocking. Malaysia has this problem too, but the gap between the best and the worst is much smaller. Then there's medical tourism, and this story tells you everything about how the world views these two systems. Malaysia attracted over 1 million medical tourists in a year before the pandemic. People flying in from Indonesia, the Middle East, Bangladesh specifically, because they trust Malaysian hospitals more than their own. Penang has almost built an industry around this. Indonesian patients themselves make up a large part of that number. Think about what that means. Indonesians with money and options crossing the Strait of Malacca for treatment in Malaysia. That's not a coincidence. That's a judgment. But here's where it gets complicated, and I want to be fair. Indonesia is not sitting idle. They are aggressively building and upgrading hospital infrastructure. BPJS, despite its issues, has truly expanded basic care to hundreds of millions who previously had nothing, and Indonesian medical schools are producing talented doctors in large numbers. The trajectory is upward. Malaysia, on the other hand, has its own crises quietly building. An overloaded public system, a brain drain of specialists moving to Singapore, and a private sector that is increasingly unaffordable for the middle class without insurance. So which country can actually save your life? If you have money, whether you're in Indonesia or Malaysia, and you can access the best private hospitals in major cities, honestly, you'll probably be okay in both countries. The equipment is there, the specialists are there, the care is there. But if you're middle income, if you're in rural areas, if you have complex conditions that require specialist coordination, if time is critical, the Malaysian system is structurally more likely to save you. Its consistency is there. Its infrastructure is more evenly distributed. The public safety net, although strained, is real. Indonesia is improving. But right now, in 2025, if I had to choose which hospital system I'd want to be in while unconscious, I'd choose Malaysia. And I think 1 million medical tourists each year would make the same choice with their feet. If this video changes the way you think about healthcare in Southeast Asia, share it with someone considering moving, vacationing, or undergoing medical procedures in either of these two countries. It could really matter. And if you want me to dive deeper into specific hospitals, specific procedures, or compare Malaysia with Thailand or Singapore, let me know below. I read every comment. Take care and see you in the next video.